Uh,
Yes, sir. We had up to mentors slide. You can begin from there.
I think he is again disconnected. Yes, sir. Welcome again.
Sorry. Okay. Can you see the screen now?
No, yeah,
Sir, we are able to see the
yeah.
screen.
It's
Please
there.
continue.
Right.
Okay. So we were at mentors. Sorry, the internet got disconnected. Uh, we require mentors in our life, and if you don't have direct mentors in life, you can get virtual mentors online. Now there are a lot of virtual mentors are available, which can guide us throughout the life. These are my some of the financial mentors. I keep on listening to their videos on YouTube, and learning from these videos. I plan my financial and business growth, and I don't watch or listen to uh, music when I'm in the car, or when I'm doing time pass. Most of the time I am watching these kind of videos. TED talks are very good videos which teach us not only about the personal life, business life, financial life. So keep watching TED talks, badabusiness.com and Valuetainment about the entrepreneurship videos, and then Inside Quest and In Talks are very good motivational videos from experts who got successful in their life. And Grant Cardone got Zone is a sales training TV channel on YouTube. TED Talk is very important in my life. When I started watching first time the TED Talk, the first talk was from Start with Why by Simon Sinek, and this TED Talk helped me to find my why. And I insist all of you please watch this talk. He has very well explained what is the importance of why, how and what. Once we understand this concept of why we do something in our life, how do we do something in life, and what we do in something in our life, most of us always are focusing on what are we doing in our life, and sometimes we focus on how, but never we ask why are we doing something in life. Like as I said in the initiation of my lecture starting slide, why I wanted to succeed, because success was my need, it was my obligation, it was never an option. Because of so many personal problem or financial problem or family problem, success was never option. So like that you find your own reasons why you want to succeed. So as I said in the previous slide, education and teaching was very important part of my life. So I started teaching in BPT during my job. When I was doing job, what I used to do in my clinical work, I used to go back to my alma mater school, college, and share with my friends what I am doing in the clinical setup. Usually, a lot of clinicians are doing in their a lot of clinicians are doing good job in their clinics, but they don't share with anyone. Um, Earlier, it has been said that kuch bhi kar darya mein dal, sorry, karam kar darya mein dal. But I say now, kuch bhi kar social media pe dal, or share with everyone. So whatever I do in my life, I always share with people, and I put on social media, and I use this social media for my branding and promotion. So I insist you guys also who are in clinics, if you are doing a good job in your clinical work, please share with people so that people will get inspired and they will learn from you. During master's program, I started attending a lot of workshops, and based on that, I started teaching also. And during this teaching in masters, I was teaching my junior. Sometimes my senior masters people also used to come to classes, and I used to teach them also. So after that, I did after my masters, I joined in academics, and I did my academic job. And during academic, I was teaching. So the more I taught students, I find different ways to teach the same topic. I never use a PPT or a typical planned program for teaching. I just randomly walk in the class and start talking about the topic. And the more I was spontaneous in nature, the talking and the content was getting engrammed in my brain, and that is what we call the neuroplasticity of the brain, and it becomes a neuroplastic behavior in me about neurorehabilitation. So I don't need to think about to teach about neuro or treat a patient in neuro. It becomes very much spontaneous or automatic in nature. After that, I started doing a lot of workshops, attending workshops. So we did workshop on MRP, spinal cord injury, and stroke rehab. Then 2007, also learned how to write blogging. And blogging is a very good media. It's basically, it's your own platform. You can write whatever you think on the blog, whatever you are doing in your life, and you can share with everyone. So blog was also one of the important milestone in life. I insist those who are doing good job in your life, please keep writing blogs. So you can see that the teaching sharing is continuous journey. Sharing is so much important in everybody's life. Success is not measured in the amount of dollars you make, but the amount of lives you impact. So whenever I meet anybody, I always think that how do I help them? How do I change their life? How to impact their life? The more you impact a lot of people, your success will be better. So by teaching and sharing, I started sharing in the college. Now I left college and I'm having a bigger platform like YouTube to share my experience with everyone. Share what you learn. I always share what I learned. So I in the beginning I started doing the neuro rehabilitation. So I shared neuro rehabilitation. Then I started doing workshops. I started sharing through. Then I became HOD in 2011. Then I started sharing my experience with my team. Then I became a leader, so I started making other people team leaders in my team, so that when I resign, somebody else will take as a team leader or HOD in my place. I was doing 3 years of administration and HODship, so I learned how does the physiotherapy department work, how does the management works, how does the administration work. So in 2030, I created a workshop called as administration and management in physiotherapy department. So this is how whatever you do, you keep sharing. Later, I started attending aquatic therapy session, and I learned aquatic therapy in 2016. So from there, I started sharing about aquatic therapy. In 2017, I started business. So from starting the business, we used to keep GB school lecture in my clinic, where people used to come from my team and outside team to attend our GB school lecture. Usually these lecture were in the late night, 9:30 to 11:30. So that time I not only used to share about neuro rehabilitation, but how I am planning my business, I am developing my business. I used to share with my team, and anybody who want to attend my lecture, they used to attend. Now because I am learning about YouTube, so I am sharing everybody how to do the YouTube video and how to use YouTube for your growth. So this was the teaching sharing experience. After that, I did an academic job and then HODship. So I shared about academics and HOD. Next was home visit. Home visit is a very, very crucial part of our life as a physiotherapist. All of us survive mainly on home visit during the first few years of our life. Sorry, it is not lesion, it is lessons learned from during my job. Being a neurotherapist, lesion is very common in my typing. So, what we learn in the job. So usually we do the job to learn and get expert in the skill, not for the money. So don't do job just you get paid. every job's expectation or objective should be learn how does that particular job skill is there, and get expert in that field. Once you get expert in that field, you can apply that in your personal growth. And the beauty is that while you are doing job, you are learning, you are doing permutation combination, you are doing mistake, and somebody else is paying for your mistakes. Like doing a job, so your owner is paying you, but you are learning. So take job as an opportunity of learning, not as a source of income. Next thing you should remember, you get paid for good work only. My HOD said this me when I was in Dinanath. I used to do a lot of neuro patient, and because neuro takes a lot of time, sometimes I was working even late evening around 8 o'clock also in the department. And my HODs always used to scold me compared to the others. Then I asked him, why do you always scold me? I'm doing such a hard work. So he's like, you do good work, that is not important, but do you do one mistake, I will always catch. He said that you are only paid for good work, not for doing any mistakes. If you do the mistake, I will always scold you. So always remember that. If you do the mistake, don't complain, how are you scolding me, I'm doing such a good job. You are always paid only for good work, not for mistakes. In job, you are just paid enough so that you don't quit. Job doesn't make us grow very fast. It only pays that we don't quit. And if you make a big mistake, always remember that you will be thrown out of your job. I always remember throughout my life, during my job career, that it doesn't matter how good you are in your job. If you do a mistake, and if it is a big mistake, you'll be always thrown out of the job. And this hanging sword was always there in my mind. So I kept my activities in control so that I don't do any mistakes. Being a HOD, I learned a lot of things. First of all, administration and management, I learned. Then I learned how to conduct workshops. I also learned only important thing is that only thing which is constant is change. Involve team instead of informing. So usually we, whenever you become HOD or leader, we just tell them this is what you are supposed to do, this is what you should not do. Never inform anybody anything. If you involve the team in your problem solving, they become integral part of that process, and they participate in your problem solving, and you don't have to run behind them to do the work. So involve your team. Routine meeting was very important for me. Every Tuesday we used to conduct a meeting, and this routine meeting helped me to discuss with my team, do the problem solving every day. So any problem which was there, it was not lingering for months. Every Tuesday people were used to meet, and they used to talk about their problem, and then we used to solve. Usually in the meeting, we should always sit in a circle, and the leader should speak at the last, let everybody speak. If you allow everybody to speak out first, you will understand their problems, and in the end you can talk, and they will also feel happy because you are allowing them to talk. We also followed a concept called as see something, do something. Usually something goes in the wrong in the department, people used to come and tell me, sir, this is not good, that person has kept that machine like that, the electrodes are lying somewhere, and they always used to come and complain. So I made a quote like, do see something, do something. Instead of whenever you see something is wrong, don't come and tell me, do something about you. If you think that the electrodes are lying down, lift it and keep it in a right place. If the machine is not in good shape, clear it, change it, do something. So always give ownership to the your team member instead of you taking the ownership. The more they take the ownership, as a leader, as a manager, you don't have to keep running behind them. So remember this quote: see something, do something. This quote was inspired from the US concept in 2008 when the Eiffel, so not Eiffel Tower, the Twin Tower was broken down by the terrorists. So the quote in America was, see something, say something. So if you see something is wrong, some object is lying unattended, say something and inform the authorities. From based on that, I made this concept, see something, do something. Management understands numbers. All of us are doing a good job, being a team member as well as the team leader. But our management sometimes is happy and sometimes they are not happy. They are not happy not because you are not doing good work, but because you are not talking them in numbers. You are not talking in statistics. You are not talking to them in graphs. So I understand that. So whenever I used to go for management meeting, I was prepared with numerical values and numbers. And when I explain them in numbers, percentage, and growth, they understand my point, and they wish to approve whatever I need for the development of the department. So those who are working as a team leader or manager, please understand this concept. Management understands only numbers. If you talk something in number, don't give too much of detail. They do not want your details. They want what is the end result. They want how did you reach the goal, how are you plan to reach the goal. So if you talk in numbers, this is going to be helpful for you. As I said, team meeting is very crucial. Not only in my HODship, I conducted team meeting when I started my business. Every Tuesday evenings, we used to have team meeting. Why Tuesday? Monday is always the first day of week, and people get very bored. Second day is good day where everybody attends the department and everybody is more attentive in meeting. So conduct a meeting on Tuesdays or Thursdays and involve everybody in the meeting. That is the important point. My success is to my team. I was able to create a very good team, and the more the team is good for you, you are better in the growth and development. So team is again next important key element. So build your team. Once in our GB team, we have this quote: once you are a member of GB team, you are a member of the team for lifetime. They may or may not work with me in the future, but if they are joined with me as an employee or as just a supporting person, or during graduation they just used to come to attend our lectures or session, and they want to work with us, they are a part of team. So always keep your team members for lifetime. Even if they work with you or does not work with, does not matter. And as long as they are there and you are there for each other, this is going to build you as a good brand and good trust in each other, and as a team all of us will go better. Home visits was such a basic foundation in our physiotherapy. Everybody in the initial year always grows financially based on home visit. And this was also one of the secret behind my success, because in home visit, when you go to home visit, you don't just go to you don't get paid when you go to the home visit and do the therapy. I work in neuro, and if I don't produce result, my patient were not paying me, because in neuro the rate of change is very slow, and if you don't produce change, people used to not to continue with the physiotherapy. So I was continuously innovating and finding solution which will give faster recovery, faster solution, and the more I give faster recovery and faster solution, people were used to pay me. So home visit was big important concept in my problem solving in neuro rehabilitation. And when I started using this concept in business, it helped me to do the problem solving better instead of just doing a job. um, we used to do hard work, but we also get paid well, because in normal job we get fixed amount. Home visit, there is no limit how much home visits you can do, depends on how much time you got available, and the more you get more you do home visit, you get paid well. So I started only with 2000 rupees, then 200 rupees, then 300, 500, 800 and 100. So journey from 200 to 500 was very interesting in my life. I used to take only 200 rupees home visit. So one of my friend, he came and he said, I will give you a home visit, and how much do you charge? I said 200. He's like, I will give you 300. But I have convinced the patient that his home visit charges is 500. So the patient used to give me 500, I used to get 300, and the about 200 I used to give to my friend. But this concept, some of you might thinking that why am I giving cut and this is a wrong practice. Yes, I do agree with the wrong practice, but I learned a lesson that my worth is more than what I think. And that day I understand that I can get paid more than what I'm doing. So I did this cut practice only once, and I'm very thankful to that guy. I'm not going to take his name, but I learned a lot of lesson from him, and he taught me my worth. And from that day, I started charging 500, and then 800, and then 1000. When averagely people were taking 300, 500, I used to get 1000 rupees, not because I'm asking it because I was producing result. If you produce good result, people don't mind paying you money. And these are not just the result, these are the faster result. In neuro you don't get faster result, but if you get faster result, you will get paid faster and paid more. Again, in home visit, late payment or advance payment or no payment is a very common problem. So I used to have a lot of late payments, no payments, and I learned lessons that how to ask money. This is very, very common problem with all of us, how to ask for your payment. We feel guilty to how to ask for the payment from your patient or the customer. Please do understand this. It is, you are not doing a crime by asking payment for your services. You gave a service and you deserve payment for it, and ask very, very clearly. Don't hesitate. Go straight forward on saying that this is the number of session I have done, and this is my payment, and can you pay today? That's it. It is very so simple. And once I understood this concept, I could talk more freely, and I could get payment on time. Not only on time, I used to get advance payment. I used to take 1 month, 2 month advance payment, and people were ready to give me, because I told them, you are not buying my labor, you are buying my service. You have to book my service for next 1 month, 2 month, and they were ready because I was producing result. So understand, result talks. So this is what my routine schedule was in my life. In home visit, I used to start early morning, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. I used to do minimum 2 to 3 visit, and then go 9 to 5 job. Then again home visit from 6 to 9, and sometimes I used to go 9 to 11 also home visit, and 11 o'clock I used to go home and have dinner. So here you can see, from beginning I only focused on neuro. I never took cases from muscular or cardio or any other department. So here you can see the bigger chunk of my work was in home visit. The payment was meant from home visit, but employment was very small. Like when I started my job, my first salary was 2,240 rupees, but the salary was not important. And throughout I focused on my professional growth. This professional growth helped me my personal growth, financial growth, and indirectly my family. So these things are interrelated, and you have to work in accordance with each other. So in 2004, when I started doing masters, again early morning home visit, then 9 to 5 masters, then again home visit in the evening. Because now during masters I did not have a job, so only thing was there for me to get financial support was home visit, and this helped me a lot. Throughout my master, 60 to 80% of the time I was doing home visit. Only in last 10-20% of the time, last 4-5 months, I studied about the master's program. And whatever time used to get in masters in the college, I used to study in the college, not in the evening hour, because I was busy in doing home visit. So most of the students who are doing masters, you spend time doing time pass in college, and then you try to study in the evening. So that is not possible, and you always get bored. So you always require environment. So whenever I wanted to study, I used to go back to the college, stay in the college, and then study. So if you have a good environment, then you can study well. And again, same fundamental. This all things are interrelated. In 2007, the moment I passed my masters, I was offered a job in Sancheti College of Physiotherapy, and again 9 to 5 was job, morning home visit, evening home visit. So now there was a financial support from home visit and employment. So two sources of income here. So once I did this job in 2014, I started my consultancy. So 9 to 5 I was doing a job, and in evening hours for 6 to 9 I hired a clinic for only few hours, and I started sitting there in the evening and started with my consultancy. So for 2 years I understand how does the OPD works, why patients are not coming. When I started my consultancy OPD, I thought I will get a lot of patients. My brand name is so good, I will get easily patient, but actually it did not happen like that. For the first 1.5 hour, I used to get only 1 and 2 patients. And once I finished my OPD, then after that, again I used to go to home visit, because I wanted financial support. So don't just assume that once you start OPD, it will be a success. It will take 6 months to 2 years to grow. And in 2017, I started my company, which was GB School of Neuro Rehab and Aquatic Therapy. It is a private limited company here. And from there, I shifted from consultancy quadrant or self-employment quadrant into the business quadrant. And this business quadrant had helped me to give a good financial support. And it was giving not only equal to the amount of what I'm doing in job, but it was giving 10 times bigger income than my job when I started with my business. So I started a business, you can understand, very late. Last 3-4 year only, I started doing business. So we'll talk about our clinical development, because this is the topic about clinical development. So let me focus on the clinical development here. So here you understand this. For 1 year to 2 years, I did consultancy OPD for 3 years, and only for 3 years I used to pay 12,000 rupees as a rent. There are a lot of people who want to go and start their OPD. You will always have a question: what is the amount of what you say rent should be given? So here you can understand. For 3 hours, I'm giving 12,000. Then in 2016, I started with my 24 hours OPD, which was a gem clinic. And here for 24 hours, I take a very small clinic, like it was a garage in a backyard of the building. So it cost me around 20,000 rent. So imagine, for 3 hours 12,000 and for 24 hours 20,000. So if you are not sure how to start the OPD, I suggest only hire based on hours. And if you are sure that you can run, then it is always better to have a 24-hour setup where you will be charged less and you can earn more. And in 2016, when I started this gem OPD, within that year I opened 6 clinics. So this was the clinic in Kondwa, then Chinchwad. Sorry, I forgot to write here. Probably there is some typographical mistake. Then we started a clinic in Nasik. After Nashik, I started a clinic in Malad in Mumbai, and I also moved out of the state. So we got out into Madhya Pradesh. I started a clinic in Indore. So why did I started so many clinics in the beginning only? As I told you, I read the book from the book of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. He says, to be successful, you have to become a failure first. And you not only fail, but you have to fail faster. He says that whenever you start any business, the first attempts will be always a failure. And about if you start 10 projects, out of that 9 projects will fail and only 1 project will be successful. So I understand we have to fail and fail faster. So I started within first year 6 to 7 OPDs at a time. And because every OPD has a different business model and everybody has a limitation and advantages. So I understand what business model is working in different clinics and what are not working. So most of my OPDs, like except Chinchwad, they closed within 1 year, except JM Clinic, which was continued. So I did 4 mistakes within first year, and I understand from this mistake that what are the things are working and what are the things are not working. Only Chinchwad OPD was continued for 4 years. And now I started from a very small clinic, which is 200. Then I shifted to a bigger setup, a Deccan clinic, which was a 3 BHK flat. Usually, people's failure is the cause of their problems. My problem was my success. My OPD was growing so fast, JM OPD, within 1 or 2 years, my area became more smaller. When we shifted to Deccan, I thought 3 BHK is a very big size for us and not really sufficient. But within 1 year, I had to shift from that place to again another bigger place. Now presently we shifted to a 3-floor bungalow, and this is around 5,000 square feet. So always remember, you think your failure is a problem for your business development, but I think your success is a bigger problem for your business development. If you don't know how to scale your business, if you don't know how to develop your business, your success will become a biggest hurdle in your career of clinical development. So always have a secondary plan, how to scale your business, how to grow your business. And the more you grow, you will have a better development. If you don't grow, then you will not have a better development. Once we started with this project, now I stopped. We closed the Chinchwad clinic also. So all the resources from all the 7-8 clinics are put into one big setup, and this is the new setup. And in February, March of this year only I shifted, and the moment I shifted here, the Corona crisis started. I have invested around 30 lakhs of rupees in this setup, and suddenly the Corona crisis started, and my income is stopped. So financially, I was in a big problem. But as a businessman, we always understand there are always these are unwanted crises will be there, and your business can go up and down, and you have a second plan or backup plan or problem solving technique how to solve your problem. So in this also I understood how does this work, and I plan and financial planning very well. If you want to learn better about this, I have already published a video on YouTube called as strategic financial planning in post corona crisis or post lockdown. So in that I have explained in detail how did I manage this. So JB schools, this was my small clinic which was 200 square feet, so only for 3 hours. From there it is the typical garage. You can see that it is a small setup. That is where I started, and from there I moved to the 3 BHK clinic. It was a good setup, but again my success became my problem. So now we have moved to this new setup. This is still under construction, so I'm not showing all the photograph, but you can see this is only 20% of the setup I'm showing you. This was a big area for balance and gait training, and on this side we have big bungalow here. So these are some of the clinics we started within first year of my business development. So these are the 6 clinics in the first year only. One of the important point for my progress was that no outside funding or loan. Usually people think we require money to start a business. My suggestion is that, and my understanding is that we don't require too much of money. The only thing we require to start a business is decision and gut. If you have a good decision making power, and if you have guts to do something, you can do it. And remember, throughout all the development, I never taken any outside funding or loan. Whatever the business was happening, I put that same money into the business. So whatever the cash flow was flowing into the business, I put into the business. Very commonly people start a business and they take that income from that for their personal development. I only take a fixed amount of money from my business. All other money is always there in the business, and I never take any single paisa from my business in addition to the salary which I am allotted officially.